2021, a three-bedroom in Naples, Florida could pull in $300 a night without blinking. Today, that same property is struggling to fill at $200 a night, even in peak season.
A new report from the National Association of Realtors says home sales fell unexpectedly last month. Meanwhile, a new crackdown on Airbnb in New York City could impact holiday travelers.
An Airbnb crash. Housing experts say revenue for those rental units is down due to a big drop in demand.
In Phoenix, Airbnb host revenue dropped nearly 50% from its pandemic peak. And in Austin, there are now 128% more sellers than buyers in the housing market. And a huge chunk of that inventory is former short-term rentals that owners can no longer make work. There are now over 1.7 million short-term rental listings in the United States alone, according to AirDNA. Add in the listings on VRBO, Booking.com, and direct booking sites, and the U.S. has roughly 2.25 million Airbnb-style listings as of 2025. Globally, Airbnb alone has 8 million. And here's the problem. Demand growth has collapsed from 15.8% in 2021 to a projected 5.5% in 2026, while supply keeps climbing. More properties, fewer bookings. The math is breaking. Today, we're breaking down what's really happening and why this matters even if you've never listed a property on Airbnb. Number one, the oversupply crisis that's crushing host profitability in dozens of cities. Number two, the regulatory tsunami that's about to force millions of properties off platforms or back into the long-term housing market. And number three, how this wave of distressed vacation rentals is about to reshape home prices in your neighborhood. The city we cover in Section 2 is the one that should scare every STR investor in America. Stay for it. Let's get into it. First, the oversupply, because this is what turned a gold rush into a bloodbath. During the pandemic, everyone and their uncle became an Airbnb host. Remote work exploded. Travel demand surged. And the numbers looked irresistible. Buy a house with a 3% mortgage, throw it on Airbnb, and watch the cash flow roll in. So people did. Millions of them. Phoenix went from 5,000 listings in 2017 to over 21,000 by 2025. Dallas added over 6,000 new Airbnb listings since 2020, far outpacing local demand. Nationally, supply ballooned while the pandemic travel frenzy faded. And now the numbers tell the story. U.S. average short-term rental occupancy has dropped to roughly 50 to 54%, down from about 57% in 2024. In markets where supply grew by more than 50%, occupancy declined over 10% and revenues dropped 8%. A Naples three-bedroom that earned $300 a night in 2021 is now struggling to fill at $200. The hosts who bought at 2021 and 2022 prices at 6 to 7% mortgage rates with projections based on pandemic-era bookings, they're drowning. Their mortgage payment alone can be $2,500 to $3,500 a month. Add insurance that skyrocketed, especially in Florida and coastal markets. Add property taxes that surged 45 to 65% since 2019 in cities like Tampa, Dallas, Jacksonville, and Denver. Add cleaning fees, platform fees, maintenance, and turnover costs. Many operators are now running at break-even or at a loss. And here's what nobody talks about: the hidden cost of vacancy. A traditional landlord with a long-term tenant has income 12 months a year. An Airbnb host with 50% occupancy is earning zero on half their nights, while still paying the full mortgage, insurance, and taxes every single month. When your occupancy drops from 70% to 50%, you don't lose 20% of your income. You lose 20% of your income while 100% of your costs stay fixed. That's how people go from cash flowing to underwater in a single season. Real quick, if this data is helping you see what's really happening, hit that bell. We break down market shifting data every single week. Now let's talk about the regulatory tsunami, because this is what's about to turn a correction into a flood. Cities around the world are cracking down on short-term rentals at a pace that most hosts haven't grasped yet. New York's Local Law 18 effectively banned most entire apartment rentals for stays under 30 days unless the host is physically present, causing a dramatic drop in active listings. Barcelona has enacted a blanket ban on short-term tourist rentals. Spain fined Airbnb $64 million for listing unlicensed apartments. French cities are banning most short-term rentals, permitting only mobility leases. Italy is ending tax breaks on STR income. The European Commission is expected to propose EU-wide short-term rental rules in late 2026. And it's not just Europe. U.S. cities are ramping up enforcement ahead of the 2026 World Cup and 2028 Olympics. Cities from New Orleans to Jackson, Wyoming to Philadelphia to Lexington, Kentucky have implemented caps, bans, permit requirements, and fines. New Orleans bans STRs entirely in the French Quarter. Jackson, Wyoming limits operators to just 3 stays per calendar year. The pattern is unmistakable. Regulation isn't episodic anymore, it's structural. And every property that gets regulated off the short-term rental market has to go somewhere. It either converts to a long-term rental, which pushes rents down, or it gets listed for sale, which pushes home prices down. Either way, it's inventory hitting a market that already has too much of it. And that brings us to the third piece, why this matters for the housing market even if you don't own an Airbnb. As of mid-2025, there were 1.77 million short-term rental listings in the US, with an estimated 89% being whole home listings according to AirDNA. That's roughly 1.57 million entire homes being used as vacation rentals instead of primary residences or long-term housing. If even 10% of those owners decide the math no longer works and list their properties for sale, that's 157,000 homes hitting the market. If 20% bail, that's over 300,000. In markets where STR concentration is highest, Florida, Arizona, Texas, Tennessee, Colorado, that inventory shock could be the difference between a correction and a collapse. And the pressure to sell is building from every direction. Rising mortgage rates mean anyone who bought or refinanced above 6% is paying far more than hosts who locked in pandemic-era rates. Insurance costs are crushing coastal operators. Property taxes have surged. Platform fees have climbed. Airbnb now charges hosts a flat 15.5% service fee after eliminating its split fee model in October 2025. Occupancy is declining. Nightly rates are falling, and regulations are tightening. The hosts who are most vulnerable and most likely to sell are the ones who bought investment properties between 2021 and 2023, financed at high rates in oversaturated markets, with revenue projections based on a travel boom that no longer exists. Those are exactly the markets that are already correcting hardest: Austin, Phoenix, Tampa, Cape Coral, Nashville, Denver. When these STR investors dump their properties, they don't sell to other investors. They sell to regular buyers, if they can find one. And they sell at whatever price the market will bear. That's how distressed vacation rental inventory becomes distressed housing inventory. Redfin's data already shows over 600,000 more sellers than buyers in the US housing market, a record gap. Adding a wave of failed STR properties to that imbalance could accelerate price declines in the markets that can least afford it. So here's what to do. If you're an Airbnb host, run your real numbers today, not your projected numbers, not your 2022 numbers, your actual trailing 12-month revenue minus every cost: mortgage, taxes, insurance, cleaning, maintenance, platform fees, vacancy, and your time. If you're at break-even or negative, you need to decide, convert to long-term, adjust your strategy, or sell now before more inventory hits your market. Every month you wait is another month of operators doing the same math and reaching the same conclusion. If you're a home buyer in an STR-heavy market, pay attention. Distressed Airbnb properties are becoming the new foreclosure opportunity. These are often well-furnished, well-maintained homes being sold by motivated owners who need out, negotiate hard. If you're a homeowner near a cluster of STR properties, understand that your home value is partially tied to what happens when those operators sell. If 5 Airbnbs on your block list for sale in the same quarter, that's a comp problem for your equity. Here's the bottom line. The Airbnb gold rush is over. Supply exploded. Demand normalized. Regulations are tightening. Costs are rising. And the hosts who bought the dream at the top of the market are now staring at the math. When millions of vacation rental operators all reach the same conclusion at the same time, that the numbers don't work anymore, the inventory has to go somewhere. And where it goes is straight into the housing market. Subscribe with the bell on. Drop a comment telling us if you're an Airbnb host. Are you still cash flowing or are you feeling the squeeze? Those real-world data points help everyone. See you in the next one.